When it comes to Auburn's head coaching search, it's important that John Cohen answers one key question.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Ben Taylor of Auburn Opelika this morning, hanging out with us as he does every single Tuesday afternoon here on a bonus edition of the show. Of course, of the Auburn Network family of stations, he hosts Auburn Opelika this morning. We'll get into who you think should start for Auburn at quarterback on Saturday. We'll get there. But I've said this for the last week or so, Ben, and I don't think it's a reach, but I want your reaction to this, where, okay, this coaching search just felt a little different than the previous two. The previous two felt like we dreamed a little bit. Like, let's go get Lane Kiffin. Let's go get a Dan Lanning. Let's go get one of these big names. We're not really seeing that this time. Or there might be people that are saying Lane Kiffin, which is fine. You can say it. I don't think it doesn't ever feel like a real possibility. I would love it. Doesn't feel like a real possibility, to the point where, like, the biggest realistic dreaming scenario so far has been Kenny Dillingham. And there's still plenty of arguments against Kenny Dillingham, right? But the reason Kenny Dillingham, I think, is a more attractive option than most of these other coaching options is because you want to find somebody who's won at the P4 level. And that doesn't really seem to be there in abundance. And you're seeing the same thing with LSU. You're seeing the same thing with Florida. You're seeing the same thing with Penn State to some extent. And so it's like, all right, that apparently doesn't seem to be on the market. And I think the timing of the college football playoff is probably impacting that. So then your next thing is, okay, well, that's obviously plan A. Plan B is, okay, who's doing it at a lower level that you think could translate to the SEC level, to the level of Auburn when you give them more resources? And you can make the argument that a lot of these guys could, but like John Cohen has to answer that question. John Cohen has to answer which of these, I don't want to say tier 2 candidates, because I think they are the best candidates in this coaching market. So I don't want to say tier 2, but it does seem to be in a different spot than it was the previous 2 coaching cycles that Auburn has participated in.
I think that when it comes to this, number one, you mentioned Dillingham over and over. And I think one of the pluses that I like with Dillingham is when you surround him with some talent, he's a pretty darn good coach. And Auburn has the talent that they're able to retain that. Because I have heard the argument with Dillingham, well, look at his first season. Whatever it was, just a handful of wins. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 wins. It
wasn't a lot. Yeah.
Not great by any means. Second season, though, when he had a quarterback in play and Cam Scatterbo in the backfield and a fairly decent defense that would at least bend but not break, he was able to make it to the playoffs, which I got to be honest with you, Zach, for Arizona State, to me is a big, when's the last time we had Arizona State on our radar? So that was a big thing. Now, this year, lost his quarterback again, so the talent's not there, and so he's having, quote, a down year. But if you put the quarterback in play, give him a couple of running backs, a couple of great receivers, I think it's there. I just don't think at Arizona State, which I know he's a graduate there, I get all that stuff, but I don't think he gets the assets and the resources there that he could get at a Southeastern Conference program. Not even Auburn, but any SEC program.
Yeah, and some of it's Arizona State. Some of it's zoomed out a little bit. Like, how alluring is it to play in the Big 12 right now? How alluring is it to live in that part of the country right now? And, like, you can say what you want, but, like, just look at what's happening. Like, people aren't going to play in the Big 12. People aren't going to the Arizona schools to play at the highest level of college football. People will go to the SEC for that. And so some of that is how they're positioned, right? And, you know, it is what it is. That's not Dillingham's fault. But if you go to Auburn, it changes the game. I mean, you could say the same for Jon Sumrall. Eli Drinkwitz has become really, really interesting. You know, what is he doing at Missouri? It's been impressive. Can't beat good teams, but Missouri's not like a historically relevant program. Does that change if he gets Auburn's resources versus Mizzou's? I like, once again, there's arguments for and against all of these names that we're hearing. There's just none of these that we can really dream about, which it does stink a little bit, if I'm being 100% honest with you.
I'll tell you this on a side note.
Yeah.
If I'm Lane Kiffin, not that he doesn't need the money, but he could write his ticket right now. I mean, he's like the top dog that's being courted by everybody. His family was in Baton Rouge. He likes Gator Nation and living near the coast over in Gainesville. Penn State needs a coach still. Clearly, they're saving money. Got released, I think, a little bit earlier this morning. The Franklin buyout's way less now than what it was supposed to be. So they've got extra money to be able to throw at somebody. I mean, that's just a side note. But if I'm Lane Kiffin right now, I'm telling my agent to take every call and let's sit down and have a discussion at some point.
No, it seems to be working. I mean, there's a joke in a few of the group chats I'm in that like Lane Kiffin's the favorite to like be the head coach of every open job. So it's gonna be funny if he doesn't move at all. I think he's going to the NFL, but whatever. That's beside the point. So
that's also another great reason. Another side note. Another reason to be Lane Kiffin. Great reason to be Lane Kiffin. You even got the pros calling you right now.
Yeah, so. No, he's got the most leverage of anybody in college athletics right now, for sure.
But to your point, candidates that would win with Auburn's resources. And I think people too, when you talk about resources, they immediately go to money. And I think that's fine because I understand it's NIL.
A lot of it.
It's a lot of it. But if you're able to retain a lot of this roster offensively from the weapons on the outside, which I think you can,
which some of that is tied to money.
It is also tied to money. Facilities you're able to use along with
money. Yep.
And this also includes money, which a lot of people don't like to hear this. The fact that Auburn is still selling out games, losing football, lets you know as a coach, okay, the support's there. Like,
what does fan support lead to, though, Ben?
Money, exactly. Money. That's what I'm saying. That's what people go. Well, think about how loyal our fans are. Well, our fans are loyal, but they also are. They got deep pockets.
They spend money.
Yeah, they're still spending money.
Money. Yeah.
I think
Auburn's an attractive job. Look, there's all these people that try to tell you it's not. And and there's people that are saying, oh, they fire too many coaches, which historically is inaccurate. The last few years has been bad, 100%. But there's people that pick on Auburn saying that they're not serious. And then they also pick on them for like paying these buyouts. And it's like, because they want to win.
Yeah.
Like you can say what you want about Auburn, but the actions line up much more that they are a serious program in regards to having a higher bar than maybe what the rest of the college football world views Auburn in the way they talk about it. It doesn't add up. So
they've said too, Zach, that I've heard on various places as well as seen in writing where they say Auburn's expectations are too high. How can you fault somebody for that? Like if they're willing to pay what it takes to get coaches here.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if they had kept Harsin or if they had kept Gus?
Then your expectations are not high enough.
Right. Yeah. So for people who are saying that, like, just get out of here.
When they come out and they go, Auburn's expectations are unrealistic. I'm like, is it unrealistic to want winning football? Like that's what you're preaching to your players. Mm-hmm. Why the heck would you not preach it to the staff that's in charge of the players?
That's right. And then just real quick, another candidate that's like, okay, you got to ask the question on like DJ Durkin. Can DJ Durkin, if he's given full reins to the program, he's aware of the assets that Auburn has, can he take that next step forward? So like that's John Cohen's biggest question right now. Unless he can go and poach a big name coach that's won at the P4 level, that name just hasn't really popped up. I mean, there's been some chatter about Lincoln Riley, but that'd be great. I think he has questions of his own right. Like how much does he really want at the P4 level, even at USC? More than these other guys. So
USC's
worth noting.
USC is a private school. He's got deep pockets he can use over there that don't have to go on the books. So he can't win there.
Right. Who would you start at quarterback on Saturday? I think the answer is super easy. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook right now. Ben Taylor, new customers, you can bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets. Normally is when I now read the Auburn line, but FanDuel's not touching this one. FanDuel's not touching the Auburn Mercer game as we record this Tuesday morning.
I don't blame him, man. I got to be honest with you. I don't, depending on who's out there to play, depending on who's being held out of games. I mean, I'm sure that the people that set those lines are going, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Also, Mercer and FCS is putting up 40 a game. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what you do with that. No, I'm with you. You can bet on Keyshawn Hall to be player of the year plus 6,500 odds. Might be some value there. If he keeps scoring 20 a game, there's something there. Once again, right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets with your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. The Ben Taylor of Auburn Opelika this morning, the Auburn Network family of stations, hanging out with us. I've been pretty consistent with this. I think you have to start Deuce Knight on Saturday. I think the upside of starting Deuce Knight as far as the present and the future far outweighs giving Jackson Arnold another opportunity when a guy who I'd be shocked if Jackson Arnold was on the roster next year. Auburn needs to do everything they can to keep Deuce Knight on the roster next year.
So my question is, do you think that is, I had the same discussion with your buddy, the Charlie 5. Do you think if he doesn't start Deuce, I think that if they don't start Deuce, I don't think that's a breaking point of Deuce leaving or not. I think I think it just would sit well with the locker room, with Deuce himself, and with the fans, because they've been begging to see him if you do start him. And this is in the situation with it being Mercer, I think is a perfect opportunity to do that.
Sure.
However, I don't agree with what some of you hearing some of the fans of, if you don't play him, he's liable to bounce. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Why?
Where's he going to go to start? For the money.
Start or feel supported? Because
he's getting paid a lot of money. That's pretty good support. And so
he can get the money anywhere.
I know, but
he could get that money anywhere.
He's primed with Jackson Arnold being out to be the starter next year. Because Ashton Daniels possibly, coming back to Auburn, you don't know now that they're saving that red shirt that they're going to be doing for Friday, but who knows if he gets an offer somewhere else. So you're looking at Deuce prime to being the starter next year, and he's getting paid a lot of money. I mean, if he goes somewhere, he's going to be sitting on the bench again, probably. Because he's not going to probably a big program.
So if you're Deuce, you have to, you were sold that you were the future of this program.
Correct.
And at some point you've got to be shown that post you freeze, you are the future of this, this program. So I think starting Jackson over him, I agree with your statement. It's does he leave if that's the case? I think it's more than that, but I do think it sends a message that we want to invest in you. You are the future, even with these coaches. It may not be with us, but Auburn's still going to be here if we're not here, and you need to be here after we're here. Obviously money's an aspect of it. And if Auburn's next coach wants Deuce Knight to stay here, you got to think the resources will be involved for him to stay here, assuming Deuce wants to stay here under the new coach. But I do think this is important to him. I do think the opportunity of him getting his first collegiate start, not full relevant reps, but first collegiate start, I do think is important.
Yeah.
To him.
No, I believe it's important. I just don't think I don't think it's a breaking point of him being gone or not. Now, so let me be the contrarian in the room.
Please.
What if he's 1 for 9 with 2 interceptions? I
think that's why Auburn should start him.
Okay.
Because I don't think he can do anything. I don't think that, in most situations, there's a lot that, I don't think there's much he could do to prove that he is the guy against Mercer, but he could prove that he's not the guy against Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, just from an Auburn standpoint, if you want him to stay and he does go 1 for 9, the leverage does go away a little bit.
It does. I mean, I know this sounds bad to think this way, but there are a lot of coaches that stop looking and stop calling if he goes 1 for 9 with an interception.
Yeah, and the stuff that he did against was Ball State, where he got to play. Yeah, because Ball is not a state. I think a lot of people look past that because of the backup platoon stuff. Like he was with all the 2s and 3s. But I do think in this situation, if you trot him out there with Singleton and Coleman and Simmons and Perry and the starting O-line, and he does, you said 1 for 9, we'll stay with that. Like that, I mean, it doesn't write off his career by any means, but it does make you ask the question, like, how far off are we? Can we fix this in an off season? Can we take that step? Or are we okay with, Ashton and whoever you bring in through the portal competing, and then Deuce being the backup? Is Deuce okay with that?
Yeah.
I think it in that situation, which a lot of people are dubbing worst case. I think you could actually say for next year, it might be best case. Just because you get more information, and it might give you a little bit more of an extension as far as when Deuce is realistically ready to play.
And I don't have any sort of behind the scenes look behind the curtain at the Wizard type deal, but I do think he will start. I think he deserves to start. I think he will too. I think Auburn kind of owes it to him to start. And I think as a staff, I think that the team needs to put him in position of success. They were going to see a lot of Cobb and Mapson to let him do that, hand the ball off to them. They were going to see some quick passes and some stuff that will put the ball in between some guys' numbers just to get them started. And then I still, just from based on those high school highlights I saw, I want to see that deep ball a few times out of him. And here's the thing. I hope it doesn't kill his confidence. I hope they've instilled in him, if he does those deep balls and those balls do get intercepted, I don't care. Honestly, I don't.
I agree with that. I'm fine with that.
And so I don't want the quote unquote boo birds to come out or people to be upset at that, because I think you got to give the kid an opportunity to succeed once he's in there and let him play his game. I mean, he's supposed to.
About Deuce, correct?
Yes.
They won't boo Deuce.
No, they probably.
I'm worried.
They will boo the staff.
I'm worried that they'll boo Jackson.
Yep. I completely agree. And I think that they come early, because when they do the announcements, whatever it is, 20, 30 minutes before the game, and if his name's called out, even outside the stadium, you're going to hear.
If they don't announce it beforehand, which I think they will, but if they don't, they do the or thing, which we've seen kind of happen historically.
I hate that.
I hate it too. I'm assuming it's gamesmanship. We don't need gamesmanship against Mercer. But if they do that and it's like Jackson Arnold or Deuce Knight, I think you would see two contrasting opinions and reactions to that.
You still hear the boos at the beginning of that particular call. So
which I look, if you're an Auburn fan and you don't want Jackson to start or whatever, and you're going to the game, please don't boo him. Do not boo our players. Please don't boo our players. But I am worried that'll happen, especially when like the way we talk about this kid and the way his coaches talk about him is like confidence. Like, goodness gracious, that would stink. That would stink. And like, look, I've never seen coaches dance and tiptoe around a quarterback's confidence as much as I saw Hugh Freeze and the staff tiptoe around Jackson Arnold's confidence.
Correct.
Which in hindsight is like should have been more of a red flag than it was. It was outside of Auburn. Inside, kind of tried to spin it and didn't work. But I do think that's another reason to start Deuce. Yeah. It's like, Durkin talked about this with the Ashton redshirting situation. Like, you got to do what's best for the kid as well as the football team. I don't see how that's best for Jackson.
Right.
Or the football team.
No, I agree with you. I completely
think it's best for anybody.
Yeah, so, I completely agree.
Ben, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
AUnetwork.com, as also download the Radio Alabama app. From a local standpoint, Auburn and Opelika football. Download that Radio Alabama app. That is the semifinals of who goes to the state championship Friday night at the Duck.
Ooh. Is that a big game?
Tickets sold out in 45 minutes for both sides, buddy.
That's incredible. That's awesome. Is it in Auburn or Opelika? Where is it being played?
It's in Auburn. It's at Doug Sanford. Winner goes to take on either Thompson or Central, who play at Central.
That's
It'll
insane.
be some of the best football in East Central Alabama that anybody could ask for.
Oh my goodness, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, download the Radio Alabama app and listen Friday night. Absolutely. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.